Hi everyone, welcome back. We're going to be talking about the elements of vinyasa, if you would. Vinyasa being the poses that we flow through, and this comes from the Ashtanga practice. And so today we're going to be talking about down dog. And some of the misconceptions of down dog is that your heels have to be touching the floor. And oftentimes when we begin a down dog within our practice, there's a lot of pressure on our wrists, and this causes fatigue. It causes a lot of strain in our hands. So we're going to talk about some of that. So in down dog, we want to think about pushing into the knuckles of our hands, primarily right here, right behind our index finger. So we're really pushing down into this area. And one of the cues people give that I use quite often is that if you could slip a piece of paper underneath your palm when you're in down dog. And that helps you think about displaying your weight further down your hands so that you have a little bit of a wrist in your hand. So you're not hanging out so much in your wrists. And then the other thing is being able to bend your knees enough that you can push your weight back enough into your hips so that all your weight isn't forward, rather you have an equal weight in your hands and in your feet. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So when you come into your down dog, you can measure this out at first by coming into your high plank. You want your shoulders just over your fingers, and this is the distance that you want. Once you've got that, you're just going to hinge right back. And one of the tendencies we have is to straighten our legs out right away. And if you do this, feel what that feels like in your lower back and in your upper back. You begin to do this. So start quite liberal in your bend in your knees at first. And then find that push off, especially in that big index finger knuckle. And then you're going to push back it up into your seat. And now you'll feel that length right through your seat. Allow your head to hang down. And then you can start to straighten your legs out a little bit more. But you want to maintain that push so that you're sending your hips back and up. And then your weight is displaced between your hands and your feet. And then another part of this is to engage more muscles within your back so that you're not just using your arms and trying to lengthen through your seat, but you're using this middle section. One of the muscles that we want to cue into to engage is called the serratus anterior. And these are these muscles, kind of like a bear hug around your ribs. And the way that we bring these into our down dog is when we begin to turn our biceps forward. So the eyes of your elbows begin to turn forward. But you'll notice if you really turn them forward, what happens is your big index finger knuckle pad lifts off the ground. So push into that big index finger knuckle at the same time as you're rolling your biceps forward. These are going to be two opposing actions, but they're going to strengthen the structure of your down dog within your back. One of the things, especially if you are hypermobile, is people kind of dump down and do this. Well, we don't want to be sagging in our down dog. We want to keep the structure of our body. We want to keep our muscles informed when we're in this structure so that we're not panicking and stretching out ligaments. So if you are engaging your serratus anterior, rolling your biceps forward, pushing down into the big index finger knuckle, then you'll maintain that lengthening. There are two kinds of bodies, two particular kinds of bodies. There's mine that is muscular, and I don't really have to worry about over lengthening my ligaments because I'm not especially flexible. But there are people who are naturally very flexible, and they run the risk of going into some of these positions and hammocking and lengthening their ligaments. And once you stretch those ligaments out, they don't go back. So it's really important to inform your body, to keep muscular integrity within your body, especially if you're that kind of a body going into that position. It might feel really good just to hang out there and move forward, but your body will be much more safe if you're rolling your biceps forward. And if you're like me, where you're more muscular, you're holding that structure within your back, and I'm constantly trying to lengthen out my hamstrings. And so this gives me the option to lengthen my hamstrings and have that structure in my back where I'm able to lengthen, keep my weight in the back, and then I can work on my hamstrings.